Kicking off today again with some Historic, the non-rotating format that's accessible on Magic Arena. So today we've got some Sultai Midrange, refers to a green, black, and blue color combination. This deck harkens back to the kind of green-black Sultai midrange deck that existed during RNA Standard, featuring Wildgrowth Walker here in the Explore creatures. So 1/3 for 2, whenever a creature you control explores, put a 1/1 counter on this and you gain 3 life. So very good card against aggressive decks, especially in conjunction with Jadelight Ranger. We've got Hydroid Krasis and Uro as ways to generate some card advantage. One thing I'm not too certain on in this deck is this is choosing to leverage Gilded Goose as its 1-drop accelerant of choice. Something I'm going to want to keep track of in the sets that we play is how often would this have been better as Landmore Elves and how often was it better as Gilded Goose. So let's go ahead and dive on into a historic event here with this and see how it goes. And I don't think that's necessarily straightforward that you always want to command the Dreadhorde. Krasis is much better against disruptive decks, things that are going to have counter spells. It's also much better against aggro as well. This is a mulligan. I guess yeah, let's keep it. Got a 2-drop in all my colors. Hey, 40 Deuce, thanks for 11 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So, can't hold this up this turn, unfortunately, because this would fetch the tap blue source. Have you missed much? Nope, just getting started with Historic. You did miss Pioneer. Prescription insurance plans frequently have a $5,000 to $6,000 deductible. Yep. Ooh, Reanimator. This Dispute's probably going to be useful next turn. This has Death Touch, so can't really attack in just yet. Hopefully they just, like, cast Blood for Bones here, and we get to Mystic Dispute and blow them out. It's like, in, pay the 3rd man off the Gilded Goose. They could still have Blood for Bones here, because there's no reason for them to not attack first, so their thing won't have haste. I mean, to be fair, Vernash, like, most people can't afford ones that don't not have the lowest monthly cost. Like, they're buying it just to have catastrophic coverage. Christy and I kicked around the idea, because this job's been going okay, of having me be the only income in our house, and, like, we looked into the cost of, like, what it would cost to get insurance on our own, and, like, we would be looking at $2,000+ per month for things that had deductibles like that. For my family of 4, soon to be 5. I think I just let that happen. I think I need to just hold up this dispute for a potential reanimate spell. And then there's the other aspect of, like, even when you have what's supposed to be called good insurance in the United States, you have to fight with them to get coverage when you have something happened. Like, Chrissy was, like, literally bedridden for almost, for almost 2 months because of hyperemesis with this pregnancy. And, like, we had to go back and forth with the insurance company that she has to get disability benefits for that. Scheming symmetry. It's hot. Alright, so I think we're just gonna do this turn. If we hit a land, we can still hold up Murderous Rider technically off the geese. If they have another reanimate spell, this Atalpa's probably just gonna run us into the ground. Do I have any answers to his Atalpa in my 60? I don't think I do, right? Lou, thanks for coming in for the 15th month. Welcome back. Search your library for 2 cards, put 1 in your hand, put 1 into your graveyard. The card's kind of hot, like puts a fatty in the bin and it gets you a reanimate spell. Yeah, but I can't interact with it once it's in play, right, Llama? My son is 9 months old. We literally just paid the last bill related to his very uncomplicated birth to an unaffiliated pediatrician we had no choice over and has a record of horrendous billing practices. Yep. Yeah, like, when Kirsty and I decided to have another child, like, we looked at budgets and stuff like that, and we're expecting, like, you know, probably 5 figures worth of medical expenditures surrounding a normal, uncomplicated birth. God forbid there could be any complications. Yeah, I did put 2 Grafdigger's cages in my sideboard, so we've got that going for us. That's true. Liliana, we have 1 6-mana Liliana that could work here. Yeah, it's not just super vomiting, it's like the inability to basically eat anything Rexbox. We had like emergency room visits for like hydration. She had a four-day hospital stay at one point at the end of last year. So, big scary dino here. Flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. Lot of keywords. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. Do I want Tamiyo or do I want Hydroid Krasis? I think it's Tamiyo, so I can try and find Liliana. Chief Keith, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Am I going to play the Mythic Point Challenge? No. Playing the Mythic Point Challenge tomorrow would be losing myself money. Oh, I have Hostage Taker, too. That's true. Okay, I'm going to name Hostage Taker, not Liliana. Forgot we had one of those, too. It is far more profitable for me to continue to stream donation decks tomorrow as opposed to playing in the event. If I go 10-0 in the Mythic Point Challenge, I get $10 worth of in-game currency. The Mythic Point Challenge will probably take me 3 to 5 hours to play if I go 10-0. Whereas in 3 to 5 hours, I will play 2 to 3 donation decks. And donation decks are a minimum of $10 each from subs for me. And on top of that, they probably average somewhere in the $15 to $20 like range where they end up at. Not all of them are $10 submissions. I don't think Gitrog Monster is competitive, Fox. We did a Sultai Gitrog build, and it just like, the Sultai deck or a green-black deck is fine in Historic. Gitrog Monster just doesn't add any value to the archetype is the issue. So they're attacking Tamiyo for 8 here. I think I'm supposed to put 2 geese in front of it so Tamiyo lives. So that way I can plus it, naming Hostage Taker again next turn, because that's my out to win against the Satulpa. Let's kill this Tombbound Lich here too. I mean, it's not even just about, Gitrog isn't even bad because, Gitrog isn't even bad because midrange is bad. I actually think midrange is fine in this format. Gitrog is just worse than what you could be doing otherwise. Gitrog is worse than to only MCQs. I don't even think I'm going to be playing in the MCQs anymore, Naya. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to finish in the top 1200 this month without taking extra time to play off stream. And, like, the expected value of playing in an MCQ is incredibly low. The only real reward for playing in an MCQ is going 10-1 or 10-0. And you're incredibly unlikely to go 10-1 or 10-0 in an MCQ. So we're going to play Teamer Adventures on the ladder today, and if we have a good run with that, we might finish in the top 1200, but very realistic chance that I'm not going to finish there this month because I'm not going to put the extra effort in. And that's even before you consider the fact that, like, if I ever wanted to take things seriously and qualify for the MPL, I literally can't be in the MPL and do my job even if I qualify, because being in the MPL, like, you get kicked out if you're critical of Wizards of the Coast in the wrong way, which obviously was what would happen here. I'm gonna go ahead and concede this game. They're gonna kill our Tamiyo here. We're just pretty unlikely to find an answer to this. Thanks for the 15 months, Lucas. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Alright, so we've got a couple more Agonizing Remorses. Dispute sounds good. Extra Liliana sounds good. Grafdigger's Cage sounds great. I said Fish Lamp Clock. Have some extra attention. Sure, but playing in random... Oh, eat to Extinction is good for the Exile. Good call. Playing in random tournaments tends to be bad expected value, too. Like, anytime I go and play in any Magic tournament, as opposed to staying home and streaming for the weekend, I'm losing money. Like, there's a reason why when Savitz was in the MPL, he didn't play in a lot of events other than what he was expected to do, right? Because, like, it loses... if you're a big streamer, anytime you take off, you lose money. Like, this is the way this job works is it snowballs. The more time you take off, the more you lose. So they discarded a dragon, so I think I want these trophies because they're not always going to have Satulpa. Well, someone like PV doesn't have a large streaming presence, Naya. So, like, if PV was someone like Savitz or myself or Crokies, he would probably stand to make more money staying home on average as well. Like, when you talk about, like, the amount of money PV's made over his career, like, I think they said he's cleared $1 million made from Magic, but if you average out that amount of money over the amount of years he's played, he's just only made an okay, he's made a good living. Like, he's made, like, 70 grand a year. So, like, $1 million is an impressive number, sure, but when you, like, actually sit down and think about what that range is over, it's, like, less impressive. Like, it's good for Magic. He's, like, the #1 earner. But in context, like, what you get as a job, you know? Like, that's like working as a software developer in the Midwest. Not anymore, Philly. So last year, the contracts had a streaming requirement. This year, they have not. Sure, prizes have been going up, but what you need to understand is Magic's an incredibly high variance game, and the prizes have mostly been going up at the very top. Like, again, talking about the MCQ, going 10-1 gets you, you know, going 10-1 gets you a qualification to an event worth maybe 6 figures, at least 4 figures, and going 9-2 gets you actual nothing, basically. Please don't estimate the high amount of gems you get. Someone linked in the subs Discord Martin Yuza on stream last night, coming to the realization of how many gems you got for doing well in the MCQ, and just like watching him process how little gems they gave you was just like, it was really funny. Like him like slowly coming to the realization that like, oh Lord, these prizes are awful for people that don't care about the points. It was in the Standard or Magic General channel in the subs Discord. It was in Standard or General. I don't remember which of the two. So, I assume there's been studies done on this, Raisin, but I would bet they actually stand to bring in more competitive players with higher top prizes than they do with flatter prize pools, because it's flashier and more impressive to advertise you have like $100,000 first place prize than it is to talk about what the average competitor is going to make at a tournament. Yeah, they're better headlines. Need to give a bigger carrot to chase. Sure, and like that's part of the reason why they do it too, Naya. A lot of people that are playing aren't there for the expected value, they're there for the prestige, right? Like myself or someone like other people who are large streamers, our position is different, right? Like most people aren't large Magic content creators. Yarok, Dread Presence in Standard, you definitely can, Fox. Thank you for the generous. Thank you for the generous tier 3 sub. I think that'll bump it into tomorrow again. Looking for some lands here. Feels good, man. This card's so sweet. I really like the design on this card. Just like, this is great. Yeah, the Explore mechanic did a really good job of reducing variance in a not overpowered way. This card also reminds me of a time when Standard was like at an all-time best point ever, maybe in one of Magic's history, so. Like Guild Standard was a golden era in my opinion. And then RNA Standard was also very reasonable, even if it did introduce Reclamation. Yeah, Blue-Black Pirates. It was a simpler time. And then they printed 3-mana Teferi. Here's to shift to leading War of the Spark, eh? You know what? This is probably wrong, huh? They have a Drakuseth in here. If they have the haste reanimate spell, we could be in trouble here. Oh, red-white land destruction. M21 just reprints. To be fair, the last, like, the last core set was a Chandra themed core set, right? And it didn't just reprint a bunch of Chandras. So maybe this set, this Teferi set will be a bunch of new Teferis. Are we gonna extend the TEF timer for it? Gosh, I hope not. Although, again, this is an important thing to understand about how current standard works, and I actually really don't like this about Magic's current standard setup, is, I think I just replayed this, they didn't have it last turn. The summer core set is only standard legal for 15 months, chat, which I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Once upon a time when Magic pitched having twice a year rotation, a lot of people like lost their minds because it would mean some of their all the cards were only legal for 15 or 18 months. But like, that's the reality we live in now. The fact that our current standard format has some cards legal for 24 months and some cards only legal for 15 is very silly. For people that weren't playing Magic then, at one point they proposed a twice per year rotation. And then it only happened one time, I believe, before they rolled it back. And under their proposed twice per year rotation, all sets would be legal for 18 or 15 months. Whereas right now, sets are legal for 24, 21, 18, or 15. There's a huge range of what these cards are legal for. Do we not have a rotation every set? I think every set would be too often. I think twice per year would be good. I think too much meta. I don't remember the exact reasoning people gave, but I remember a lot of it being bad. War is an 18-month set. Yes, there was a lot of bad faith MTG finance BS arguments. There really aren't many good faith arguments. So that's the main reasoning was cards didn't last in standard for as long as people claimed was a cash grab, but that's not based in reality. Like, cards lasted in only 2 sets per year, didn't last in standard per long under the change. That reasoning that cards didn't last in standard as long was not based on facts. It was based on people's feels. Because like I said, even under the current setup, half the sets are only legal for 15 or 18 months. Sure, yes, and I'm pointing out that logic was flawed and bad. It's expensive to build these decks and bam, it rotates. So that's another argument. Yeah, that's so unlucky. We needed to dodge exactly Bonds of Revival for 1 turn. Brutal. So the other argument of it made these things more expensive. Think about what's happened in the last year, right? Think about how when every set has come out, it's largely invalidated the decks from the previous set. Like, you don't have to have things rotate to make your deck unplayable, right? I also think, and this is something that I talked about a lot at the time too, is you can counteract both of those arguments by actually keeping twice per year rotation. So what they could do is they could have standard where every set is legal for 24 or 21 months. They could still have standard rotate twice per year, but they would have all of the sets be legal. So there would still be 2 rotations, but you would just always be in a 7 set or 8 set standard as opposed to being in a 5, 6, 7, 8 set standard. And it would also be really easy to explain rotation to people then, because you're like, all right, every 2 sets, the oldest 2 sets leave. And like, that's super straightforward to explain. There's never a question of when does this set come in or out, which is again why I feel like they touched into twice per year rotation, but then bailed out of it immediately too quickly without actually trying anything reasonable. One of my favorite sayings that I'm fond of, if you're not failing on occasion, you're not innovating hard enough. And I think they kind of mucked up the first twice per year rotation, and instead of trying to massage it and turn it into something reasonable, they just bailed out. That's true too. I think one of the issues with twice per year rotation when they tried it was an issue determining correlation and causation. When they tried twice per year rotation, it was at a point where Magic standard format was considered very bad. So like attendance went down. So they equated the causation of attendance going down with rotation happening more often, when I think in reality, attendance went down because the standard format was just bad. Hey, Cody, thanks for the biddies. No, the twice per year rotation happened during Kaladesh, right? Am I missing my timelines? Yeah, they tried it during Amonkhet and Kaladesh, I believe, right? I'm correct? Okay, I'm not forgetting my timelines. Yeah. Just Lucky, thanks for the 19 months. Welcome back. Rawr. Questerston into Nissa here. Should hopefully give him the beatdown pretty quickly. What's my favorite 3-color combination? Like every casual Magic the Gathering player, Teamer is my favorite color combination. Listen, chat, me and my boy Savage Knuckleblade top 8'd a lot of tournaments we had no business top 8'ing back in the day because the Teamer deck was terrible. So Teamer will always have a special place in my heart. The old Knuckle Buster, chat. You ever void snared someone? Did I ever win an SCG Open? I did not. I have 2 second place finishes at SCG Opens, including one of the larger ones ever in Cincinnati that hit over 1,000 people, but never a first place. I did take first place in a 300 player standard classic at one point, but that was not technically an open. Yeah, I'm still on SCG's list of like most top 8s historically from SCG Opens. I believe I have 15 or 16 SCG open top 8s, if I recall correctly. I am a very consistent Magic the Gathering player.
Let us have a storied battle worth retelling.
Do I just want Questerson here? I'm gonna plus a name Jadelight.
Seek and find.
I feel like this deck as constructed isn't a very good Tamiyo deck, just because like I don't have a lot of 4-ofs in here.
The land fights for us.
I mean, Kiki Core was definitely the deck I top 8'd the most with. Is it fair to consider an open top 8 as equivalent to a GP top 8? Yeah, they're very similar style tournaments. Especially a majority of my open top 8s happened after they changed the SCG Opens to be 2-day tournaments. The 2-day open structure is basically identical to what the GP open structure was. And both GPs and open ranged wildly in sizes. So like some 2-day opens were as small as like 400 players, but others ranged all the way up to like well over 1,000. So I think we Murderous Rider this, get my island back. Then we can escape this. Ooh, did they give us a list of new historic cards? Click. I've only been to GPs with upwards of 1,500 players, usually over 2,000, sometimes over 3,000. Yeah, some of the really big, like, Vegas-style ones hit those sizes, but those were not the norm, if you look back over GP attendance. There aren't pictures in here. So here's the Talias. Ancestral Mask. So we'll have a Bogles deck. Baron Mora, Bajuka Bog, Brain Maggot. They're giving us Psycho Lands, Forgotten Cave. Knight of the Reliquary! Can Historic finally be a format where Knight of the Reliquary is playable? Tranquil Thicket. Wait, they're printing Virulent Plague? Are they gonna give us Field of the Dead back? Please give me Field of the Dead back. Please give me Field of the Dead back. Please give me Field of the Dead back. Ranger of Eos? Ranger of Eos is sweet for Soul Siblings. They better be unrestricting Field of the Dead. I really hope they're unrestricting Field of the Dead. Ghost Quarter was in there as well. Oh gosh. Are we gonna be Moto free later this year? I feel like there's a real chance Historic actually picks up. Like, that list of cards is great. What are we playing against? I forget. 4-color stuff. All right. Dispute's probably fine. Eat's probably fine. Wildgrowth Walker's probably not necessary. They posted the list of new direct to historic cards. Is what we're talking about. All right, hold on. I got a tweet. This is fine. Not amazing, but fine. March 12th. That is super soon. It's exciting. Yeah, definitely. For people who are excited about those new historic cards, decklist submissions are open with them now. So as always, put them through the form on my site. I'll be taking build around submissions for any and all cards on that list. I would love to play more historic. We'll probably play a bunch of historic the week those drop. Ooh, Mentor the Meek. Okay. Ooh, I can't kill that just yet, because I don't have another black sword, so I guess we'll shock this in and play this. We'll plan to kill that next turn. Yes, it should coincide with the historic ladder reopening, I believe is the plan. I'm already building green-white unplayables. Oh, they're playing Vanafear? Are we the bad man? They're probably playing combo Vanafear, huh? They're supposed to make a final suspension decision with... They're supposed to make a final suspension decision with the next anthology update. So that's exciting too. So the fact that we're getting Ghost Quarter and Virulent Plague gives me some real hope that they're actually going to unban Field of the Dead. I really just want to play Yarok Field. Really just want to play Yarok Field, chat. It's on my Twitter, Vonu. You think Standard needs any bans currently? I do not. I think Standard's fine. It's a really good list of cards, Marty. And again, something that's really important and sweet about that list is that really sweet list of cards includes a number of awesome cards that aren't Pioneer legal. That's the key. Like, people keep asking, why do we need Historic when Pioneer exists? Like, Pioneer and Historic can both exist together. There's no reason why they can't both be sweet, non-rotating formats. Like, I still want Pioneer to come to Arena, and it would be great if we could have 3 constructed formats that are great, that aren't Commander, to play on this client. Like, Commander's great, enjoy Brawl if you enjoy Brawl. I personally don't enjoy Brawl, so I would love to have a bunch of formats to play here. It's on my Twitter, Vernash. It's on my Twitter. Both the picture and the link to the article. Huh? Isn't the plan to merge Pioneer cards into Historic when it comes to Arena, or just me hear that? I don't know if Historic cards are guaranteed to come to Pioneer, or Pioneer cards are guaranteed coming to Historic. I don't believe we have a source on that information. If you have a source on that, feel free to cite it, but I've not heard that guaranteed. And even if they do merge Pioneer cards into Historic, Historic is going to continue to gain cards that aren't Pioneer legal. So it will be, at worst, it will be Pioneer ++. All right, so do I want to kill, if I don't kill this, it kills my Tamiyo. I think I'm supposed to kill their flyer to keep my Tamiyo. Yeah, real support for Historic is great. For people that haven't been keeping up on all the Magic news, the Jumpstart card, the Jumpstart set that's releasing this summer is also releasing on Magic Arena, and all of its cards will be printed directly into Historic that appear here. Also, Jumpstart is going to include brand new Magic cards, and those brand new cards on Arena will be Historic legal, but they won't be Pioneer or Modern legal. Jumpstart was a keyword in a recent set.
Waste not, want not.
Yes, Historic will be like Legacy in terms of new products being legal is exactly correct. All right, so I think I name Assassin's Trophy here. I need to kill this Vanifier, otherwise there's a chance we die next turn. Again, this Tamiyo being awkward because I really don't have 4-ofs in my deck.
To the library.
I think I make us each sacrifice 2 things so I can draw 2 cards here. Oh, you know what? I should have Jadelighted first to explore. I should have Jadelighted first here. I could have gotten 2 more looks. That's super unfortunate. I'm really bad at this. It's been a while, Jadelight. I apologize. They might not be combo Vanifier. They played a lot of cards that aren't very combo-y. All right, if we don't get Grey Merchant comboed here, we're in a pretty good spot. Yeah, that's what I tweeted, Hacksaw. They're also printing Ghost Quarter, which could mean a Field of the Undead, Field of the Dead unsuspended. It's a big deal. Yeah, and I mean, again, like, part of the problem is that, like, our deck doesn't actually, if you look at our deck, we don't actually have that much spot removal, and they all have different names, which makes Tamiyo less efficient. Another thing to keep track of that I think is relevant is I would be surprised if we don't see Brawl move from Standard to being Historic. with all these cards being printed directly into that, there's a very good chance, I feel like, that like you could have a reasonable commander format for people with a pretty deep card pool relatively quickly. Wow. There goes my Cavalier. Yeah, I mean, even if they wanted to prioritize bringing Pioneer to Arena, it's an incredibly large undertaking. I would expect Pioneer to be years off of happening on Arena.
The ocean surges, life thrives.
Oh god, what kind of 6-drop are they about to go get here? Another 5. Pack Rat is going to be a great sideboard plan in Grixis Breach. They're not wrong. Alright, so Tamiyo can pick up Trophy. Vanafear is an ooze. You are not wrong. I'm not sure we're going to have the power to punch through what they have going on here. Yep, they're putting Muldrotha on top of their deck, which does take a lot of mana to leverage. Oh, I'm so dumb. That makes sense. I was expecting to draw 2 cards there, but she left the battlefield, so I don't. I'm very silly.
This isn't your average zombie horde. Impressive, isn't it?
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Let's attack these here. Really? Huh? Oh, they probably didn't want to lose this to Liliana, huh? I think this is right to do here and draw 2 cards.
They were allowed to learn much from your death.
I think I just take Kiora here. And then searching with Field of the Dead is not optional. So let's go ahead and hit them with this. And then we shuffle their Muldrotha away. Think we're stabilizing here. Feels like it. Pretty far ahead with our planeswalkers. So they can like make 2 oozes or like ooze plus 2/3, but it's like not that big of a deal. We're neoforming for a 6-drop. Okay, they're getting Muldrotha. That makes sense. Cast a creature, cast a planeswalker, cast a land. Because now I can just recast the ooze. I have plenty of cards in my bin though, right? Yeah, so after I kill this, I'll get it back, I'll draw cards, that's fine. I guess I can't kill this right away. I have to kill Muldrotha, right? One's just gotta go.
And shine.
Maybe I'm supposed to play this out and just make another thing here. I feel like that might not be too aggressive. Yeah, if they cast Uro, it just goes to our bin. Like, they get to draw a card and gain 3 life, but... Do I want to pay 4 life to draw a card? Probably. Oh, I forgot to float mana there first. I should have floated mana to have enough to cast this with my double. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Hey, Isaac Righteousness. Thanks for the 3rd of a year. Watch a YouTube every night while I do overnight shifts, so thanks for making batch mana play. Thanks for keeping me around.
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
I don't know if this attack is good or not, but it's not really my job to figure it out, so crunch. And like, if they kill my stuff, I draw some cards, so... Hey, math is for the blocker. So they're dead with these blocks, so they're dead. We pulled them up on screen and said they're sweet, but we didn't like do any brewing or anything like that, Whitman. The big takeaway is that I think Plague plus Ghost Quarter likely implies that they're planning to unsuspend Field of the Dead, which I actually think would be an incredibly good choice. I think Field of the Dead is probably an appropriate power level card that deserves a second chance. Yep, I would love to play Yarok Field. That deck was my jam. I think I have to mulligan this. No place till this late is not good enough. Hand needs a 3rd land really badly, but other than that, very, very good. What do I put back here? I feel like any of these 3 cards I could put back. Do I need 2nd Jadelight? I don't feel like I do. Tamiyo fuels Uro, which is nice. I mean, I think they should unban Field of the Dead and Pioneer too, but Pioneer doesn't have a suspend list, so I assume they're going to be more weary of unbanning things there. Pioneer. I'm kind of at a point with Pioneer that I got to Modern, with Modern a long time ago, which is that the ban list has been so mismanaged, I just can't really care. Does Field of the Dead not just invalidate Fair? It does not. I think Dream Trawler can probably race Field of the Dead in a lot of situations. I think Questing Beast and Embercleave definitely race Field of the Dead. I think there are a lot of good tools for Field of the Dead. I also think that the type of deck that Field of the Dead will often prey on is a fine deck to have preyed on. I think formats where blue-white control is the best deck in the format tend to kind of suck. I think it's fine if blue-white's playable, but when blue-white is the absolute best thing you can be doing, Magic is worse for it, in my opinion. Where are my lands, chat? Good golly. Nexus is not currently suspended in Historic, which is really funny. Currently missing a second black source and a second blue source, is a little awkward. Is Ghost Quarter typically a sideboard card? No, you make room to play it in the main deck as a colorless land. I do need to check daily deals after this league, you're right. You are definitely right. Divine Visitation. Yikes. Yikes. I think we've died, chat. Stumbled a little bit too long. Had too much clunk. Too much clunk in the trunk, chat. I'm gonna play a couple more turns here, see if we can see some more cards in their deck to get a little bit of information, because their deck's a bit of a brew. I'd like to have a little bit more info about it, but likely did here. I think original borders is fine. I think any cosmetics they want to sell are fine. I hope that they have regular new art versions too, because I definitely prefer new art greatly. Casual 644s, yep, sounds good. All right, Legion's End sounds stellar. Liliana's not particularly good. Thrashing Brontodon sounds good. Trophy sounds good. Mystic Dispute seems clunky. Remorse may or may not be good. Hostage Taker seems a little bit medium. Questing Beast attacks through, so that's great. I need 4 cuts here. What are my trims? I'm gonna trim Tamiyo and Uro. Uro's just like gonna get chumped endlessly, and Tamiyo's really awkward with the way this deck is constructed. Now, I think we need Wildgrowth Walker because the opponent's deck is going to have some aggressive starts. Rough. I feel like I'm supposed to keep this and just hope to draw some green sources. The fact that this build doesn't have, that's perfect. The fact that this build doesn't have Find Finality in it puts us at a distinct disadvantage in a match like this. In the market for a standing desk, Uplift Desk is the brand that I have. If you start doing some research, you'll note they're one of the cheapest brands on the market, and you definitely get what you pay for. If you're someone that has the budget to afford a nicer one, I would recommend doing research on some of the more expensive lines. Yeah, getting to like gold 4, plat 4, diamond floor and just screwing around is like great. Just like don't have to care. Guess we just do this before they can play this Conclave Tribunal. Falling behind here. I have a rider for their it's like not even that big of a deal. It's just like that's just peak magic right there. Nothing more embodies the Magic the Gathering is a skill-intensive game experience like thought seizing them and then having draw that card immediately. So they're throwing away this token to each I gain 2, they gain 1, but they draw a card here. I'm just gonna pass here. Probably need to Rider down the Lovestruck Beast this turn. Since we're so low. So if my opponent keeps drawing bricks, we might end up being okay here. It's gonna depend on like the quality of the top of my opponent's deck. Like my hand has a bunch of good spells in it. So like if we find lands to unlock our hand, we could be in an okay spot. That's really unfortunate because it means that I have to use this on this now. So my health total's in an okay spot, but they're going to keep generating card advantage with this. Maybe they do care, Marty. Maybe they care. It's tough, though. It's hard to let myself love, Marty. I've been hurt before. I'm afraid to love again. After Modern, I let Pioneer in, and we all know how Pioneer ended up, chat. I'm just not open to being hurt again. Well, yeah, no. So I feel like we definitely had a bit of a rough run there in terms of variance, but I also feel like the way this deck is constructed, it's not going to be especially consistent. So I think 24 lands for starters is probably at least one low with how high this curve is. I also think something we talked about a couple of times is that like Tamiyo was just incredibly awkward in this deck. Like, you look at all the numbers in this deck, and, like, this is a card that really wants you to have a maximum number of 4-ofs, and there's just so many miscellaneous 1s and 2s here that her plus is just so infrequently drawing a card for you that she really isn't stellar. I also think while Mystical Dispute would be a stellar sideboard card in this deck, I feel like in the main, I'm just not interested in it. I don't feel like, not only is there not enough blue in this format, but the way this deck plays out, it's definitely more of a tap-out style mid-range deck. So, like, holding up 1 mana can be tough, and holding up 3 is almost impossible without tempoing yourself on occasion. So, overall, I think my big recommendation would be cut some of the cuteness, figure out which cards are good, and play more 4-ofs. Like, figure out your good cards and play 4 of them. Would be my prime piece of advice. Go up to at least 25 land, maybe 26. All right, what are we doing? We're rolling on into Standard up next today. Before I hit Nad Roll and get set up for that, though, I want to take a look at the daily deals. Do we have them all again? Survey says. Just sleeves? Just sleeves? Why is Nissa 80% off, but Kiora is only 50% off? Do they love Nissa more? Who knows? All right. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll. When we get back, we are going to take a crack at this Abzan brew in Standard. So back in just a few, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Don't go anywhere.